Please help in building this channel by liking and subscribing. My grandma always warned me about our family's old porcelain doll. She said it was cursed, but I didn't believe her until the doll came into my possession. The doll looked pretty, with porcelain skin and shiny blue eyes. It sat on my nightstand, and that's when strange things began. Every night, I heard whispers from the doll, like it was asking to be set free. At first, I thought it was my imagination. But the whispers got louder and more urgent. One night, unable to stand it any longer, I decided to bury the doll in the backyard. It was a spooky night with the wind howling and the moon barely visible. I dug a hole and put the doll inside, covering it with dirt. I thought I was done with it. But the next morning, the doll was back on my nightstand, its glassy eyes staring at me with a wicked smile. I couldn't understand how it came back. I tried everything to get rid of it, but it always returned, moving around the house on its own. The doll's whispers grew stronger, and it started controlling my thoughts. It wanted to take over me, to use my body. I felt like I was losing control, becoming a prisoner to the cursed doll. I was trapped in a nightmare, unable to escape the doll's sinister influence. Every day, it tightened its grip on me, and I knew I had to find a way to break free before it consumed me entirely. The cursed doll's whispers haunted my every moment, a constant reminder of the darkness that had taken over my life. I decided to explore an old, abandoned hospital one day, curious about its dark history. As I entered, the air grew heavy with fear. The hospital was silent, the only sound being my echoing footsteps down dark hallways. In one room, I found old medical tools covered in rust and stains. Then, I heard a child's laughter, clear and innocent. But when I looked around, I saw no one there. The laughter turned into echoing screams, chilling my bones. I followed the eerie sounds to the basement, where I stumbled upon a gurney smeared with blood. The screams intensified, filling the air with terror. Panic took over, and I tried to flee, but the hospital seemed to change, shifting its layout so the exit remained just out of reach. Suddenly, I woke up outside, gasping for breath and drenched in sweat. The abandoned hospital stood behind me, a sinister presence. I knew I had escaped something truly horrifying. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong with that abandoned hospital. But my curiosity got the best of me. I returned the following day, determined to uncover the secrets hidden within its decaying walls. The hospital's corridors were still shrouded in darkness, and a sense of unease settled in my stomach. As I ventured deeper, I couldn't help but notice the eerie silence that enveloped the place. It was as though the building itself held its breath, waiting for something to happen. I found myself drawn to the same room where I'd heard the child's laughter and the echoing screams. This time, there was no sound, only the oppressive stillness of the room. But as I turned to leave, a cold breeze brushed against my neck, and I felt a presence behind me. Slowly, I turned around and my heart stopped. There, before me, stood a child, pale and ghostly, with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce through my soul. His mouth moved, but no words came out. Instead, I heard his voice echoing in my mind, a mournful lament of the pain he had endured. The child pointed down the hallway, and I followed, unable to resist his silent plea. We descended into the basement once more, where the gurney, still stained with blood, awaited us. The child gestured toward it, and I understood. As I approached the gurney, the basement grew colder, and the screams returned, louder and more agonizing than before. I saw the memories of the hospital replaying before my eyes. The experiments, the suffering, the darkness that had consumed this place. Overwhelmed by the horror of it all, I tried to flee, but the hospital fought against my escape. The walls seemed to close in, and the exit remained elusive. It was as though the hospital itself wanted to keep me trapped, to make me a part of its nightmarish history. I awoke outside once again, gasping for air, the hospital looming behind me. I knew I had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death, but the echoes of those tortured screams stayed with me, a haunting reminder of the darkness that had consumed the abandoned hospital. And I vowed never to return, knowing that some places are best left undisturbed, their secrets buried in the shadows of the past. I decided to have a quiet weekend at an old inn, and they assigned me to room 13, a room with a spooky reputation. As I settled in for the night, strange things began to happen. I heard faint whispers in the room, coming from all around me. The shadows on the walls seemed to move on their own, forming eerie shapes. My heart started to race as the room's temperature dropped suddenly, and I felt a chilling touch on my shoulder. In the dim light, I saw a ghostly figure of a woman wearing a torn and tattered dress. Her eyes were empty, and they locked onto mine. She whispered my name softly, but with a sense of deep sorrow. I was terrified and couldn't move. Then, the room plunged into darkness, and I felt her icy fingers close around my throat, making it hard to breathe. I struggled to break free, gasping for air, with all the strength I could muster. I turned on the lights, and the room returned to normal, but the woman's haunting voice continued to echo in my ears, a chilling reminder that I was not alone in room 13.